Hey everybody, if you want to see how I went from this to that, just keep on watching. So today I'm doing my sister's face. She does have a performance today. So we are going to be doing just like a soft beat today. So anyway, I'm going to start out with her brows. I'm just lightly filling them in. I'm not worried about if they're really perfect at this point, just because I am going to be doing like a softer brow with this look. So I'm kind of just making sure anywhere that is sparse, I'm filling that in, and that sort of thing. I just want to warn y'all, this is going to be a very detailed video, so if you don't like to hear talking, this video is not for you. I'm going out now and of course carving out that bottom portion of the brow. With this I'm using e.l.f. I love their concealer. Like, it's really foolproof, y'all. Like, their concealer is so, like, it's like Juvia's. It's up there with Juvia's. Like, and it's like a fraction of the price. So you need an affordable concealer. I'm telling y'all, do not sleep on that e.l.f. concealer. So yeah, I'm just carving out the brow here. Now I'm gonna be going in with a darker shade of the e.l.f. concealer, and like probably 2 shades darker, just to make, I guess, like an ombre effect, if that makes sense. Like almost really like a contour for the eye. That's what I say. I'm gonna be ultimately kind of contouring her eye out with like that darker shade. No, that's not the right word. I'm gonna stick with, I'm just, adding a little bit of dimension to her eye. So yeah, you just want to blend that out as best as possible. Please take your time with this part. Just go ahead and tap, tap, tap. Try not to like swirl, do tapping motions, and I feel like that gives you the best like flat coverage base. So now I'm going in with this like lighter brown shade in my Juvia's palette. I'll link it below because I can't remember which one it is, but it's like just a regular brown shade, and I'm just gonna do that all over the lid. Like I said, this is gonna be like a softer look today, so I didn't want to go in with anything too harsh. Like, this is literally just one color all across the lid, and I did that to both eyes, of course. After that, I am going to put her on some mascara and then some eyelash glue. Now, I'm going to be actually selling some eyelash glue. If you guys are interested, it'll be linked on my website, or it'll be listed on my website, and I'll link that underneath in the description as well. So yeah, I'm just going to be putting on some mascara for her, and like I said, some lash glue. And this really ensures that the lash has something to grip to, and so that it doesn't look like if you have, any powder or anything still on her eyelashes, that way you don't see any of that. You can just cover it up with the mascara. And then I'm going to go ahead. Now today, I was going to use like a super dramatic eyelash, but when I put it on, I was like, it's kind of overpowering the look. And then I went and I'm like, let me try this other eyelash. And I'm like, nope, that's the one. That's the one, girl. We going with this one. So I ripped the other one off and went ahead and put on that matching lash that we went with. And both of these will also be on sale on my website, or both of these will be for sale on my website, I should say. So be out on the lookout. I can't talk. So be on the lookout for the lash line dropping as well. So yeah, I'm just gonna place those as closely as I can to our natural lash line. And yeah, these lashes, I'm like, no, these is the ones that we use, and these is the one. These is the one. Like, so yeah, I went ahead and popped those in. So now I'm going in and I'm going to carve out the top of her eyebrow with the shade that I actually used for the dimension on the lid. So like that 2 shades, you can kind of see it on the back of my hand. It's like 2 shades darker than the one I used underneath her brow. So that's what I use on top, just so that it's not super, super bright all around the eye. That usually doesn't look too good. So yeah, I did do the darker shade for on top. So leave in the comments, do you do your hair first or do you do your makeup first, and why? Because I feel like get the hair out the way, because especially as it pertains to them baby hairs, because once you start, trying to manipulate them and you got all that makeup underneath, baby, it's going to look a mess. And you are going to be able to see where you put the edge control over the makeup. And I'm telling y'all, it looks so much better to me if it's just a little bit of makeup on top of the baby hairs versus like trying to do it after the fact. Then I'm going to be blending it out with like not the same one that I used for the the underbrow, just because it was so light and I don't want her forehead to be too light. That's the whole point to using the darker shade. And if you use the brush that you blended out the lighter shade with, it will mix and it will create a cast on her forehead. So just go ahead and use a separate fresh brush for the top from the bottom. Now I am gonna go in just for like that final, touch up and fill in for the actual brow itself. And I'm just using a pencil. Honestly, I really don't prefer pencils, but since they're so like popular, I did decide to go ahead and use one for the video. But I really do prefer, a angled brush and like a pomade. But for the video, I will go ahead and use the pencil. So I am going to go in with her foundation now. I do use Milk of Magnesia. I do know a lot of people don't like that. A lot of people, say, it's not good for your skin. I personally have never had an issue with it. I think maybe if you use it like every day, it probably would cause some irritation. Or if you have a specific allergy or something to, I guess milk or whatever, then, at your own risk. But I do ask my clients if they mind. Most of them don't, because they know that ultimately it is a really good base. It's going to make sure that you super matte for, as long as possible, and that, it really just creates like a even base for underneath the makeup. So I personally like it. I've heard of primers that are really like, opaque, I guess, like that as well, that I'm going to try. So maybe the next couple videos you guys will see that. But for now, I'm going to stick with my Milk of Magnesia, because guess what? I don't have a problem with it. So, Alrighty, so everybody's favorite part, the concealer. So I used this super golden under eye for her, and I did put that out over her face, like in her T-zone, you know, under the eye, down the bridge of the nose, on the forehead, on the chin, and you know, I did blend that out. I did also go in with like that light color that I initially used under her brow. I went in with that in like I guess the brighter areas of the T-zone, just to create even more dimension. Because you guys know, like, our faces are not just one color. So, you know, that's why if you try to slap on one color of foundation or one color of concealer, baby, you're gonna look washed out. Like, you need something to ultimately add some dimension. So that's what I'm doing. And then I used the like a darker concealer, which I put before I put the super dark concealer. I did put like a step down, just so that it, because like on fairer skin people, I've noticed when you go straight into that dark concealer, it just is super, it just takes a while to blend out, and it does create a much more harsh look. So I did go in with like a lighter dark shade and then a dark shade, and then I kind of mixed them together. That way it wasn't as harsh. So I did go ahead and put the concealer everywhere that I want to put it. Now sometimes I will use underneath, like once I blend out the dark contour part, sometimes I will go and use like a foundation underneath the contour, just to kind of make it even more chiselly. But I'm just gonna do that with the powder, because I mean, it's really, that would kind of be like extra, and I don't, you know, this look is not really needed to be super extra. You know, sometimes less is more. And you know, my sister had to get her little photo op. She had a little photo op. So as you can see, I'm just blending everything out with my favorite beauty blender, which I won't say this particular one. This is the original beauty blender. I'm not gonna say that I like this better, but for this step, or best, but for this step, I have the most control using this particular beauty blender compared to like Real Techniques, or you know, like those generic ones, like the beauty blender, the original beauty blender. I don't know, maybe because that was the first one that I used, but it just blends everything like butter. And it's just my favorite part, like highlighting and contouring, like that is just the bread and butter of makeup for me. Like, ultimately, that's my favorite thing. I did let the concealer sit for, you know, the duration of me contouring, you know, blending out her contour. So that's kind of what you want to do. You want to let the product warm up a little bit, but also like form in a way, like to, I don't know, like I feel like the longer you let it sit, it sort of creates like a base, and then you blend it into itself. I know that probably don't make sense, but if you know, you know. So yeah, I'm using now what am I using? I am using Laura Mercier for this under eye setting. I won't say baking, because I feel like baking is like when you leave like excess powder on top and then brush it away, or just like let it sit in there. But what I do, I pretty much just blend everything in at that moment, and then whatever I don't get, I will, once I spray, I'll kind of go in and touch everything up. You guys will see how it comes together. Honestly, I feel like baking is like a thing of the past, and you know, we have really moved on from that. So yeah, I'm gonna go in and just blend it in at that point, you know. Now I will be a little heavier handed under the eye than the remainder of the face, just because that's the, you know, that's the part that people see first. That's the part people want to see snatched the most, is that, like, you know, mid zone there underneath your eye. And then, like, of course, I'm going to go in and contour now, you know, and that is gonna bring, you'll see it, start bringing everything together. Right now this looks really separate, like everything, like you can see the harsh lines, like, but just trust in the process and you'll see how it all ends up flowing together. Now for this part, again, you want to use tapping motions versus like swirling. You don't really want to swirl the product, because ultimately you are mixing whatever is underneath, and trust me, it creates like a ashy, like, because you're mixing it with the contour powder. Like, just try to keep it as separate as possible by just tapping on the outside, and it'll create like a much softer contour. Then I'm going to contour the bridges of her nose. This is a softer contour of the nose than what I typically would do, but that's because again, this is a softer look. She's gonna be on stage. You don't really want anything too harsh that you could just see from, you know, hundreds of feet away. So I did try to make it as, like, you know, soft as possible. That's why you saw me blending it out for so long. And then I went in with this like blush bronzer from NYX, and it just really complemented the whole look and brought everything together even more. As you can see, my sister was totally feeling herself at this point. Like, you couldn't tell her anything, and you know, rightfully so, because she was popping. So yeah, I'm just gonna do that on both sides. Now it is gonna look like a lot, but I'm telling y'all, the blush, especially like, you know, 2021, 2022, I mean, you know, the girls kind of been doing it, but you know, it's just becoming a even bigger trend now to have that like super cute, like rosy, pinkish, orangish, peaches like blush. So, and it just be like super in your face. So that's what we gonna do. And then as far as the rest, we are going to just continue to blend out the powder and everything, and you'll see how everything starts to sort of melt together. But this is just, you know, part of the process. I try to blend out as much as possible before going on to the next step, because the earlier you catch it, the better. So at this point, I am going to go back in with that initial foundation brush, like when I was rubbing in her foundation. And this is really what ultimately erases those like super harsh lines, or you can just see where you placed everything on top of each other. So I sprayed her, and then I blended her out, and then this is the final look, guys. So if you want to see more, subscribe to my channel, babes. I did record like me doing her under eye and her lip off this camera. That will be on my IG channel, so go ahead and follow me over there as well. It is pinkmaid_.